Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of our Malicious Compliance. In today's episode, want me to wear the clothes you bought? Guess what I'm wearing to your birthday dinner? IT director, not being helpful. Time for malicious compliance. Want me to process this return? You got it. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Want me to wear the clothes you bought? Guess what I'm wearing to your birthday dinner? This one is an ongoing thing with me and my stepfather. My mother and stepfather got married more than 10 years ago, and the step family has been real shitty to me since day one. Why? They're all into various types of sports ball, and I'm into all kinds of music. I've stopped trying to be a part of whatever they do, because they've actively kept me out of their plans and I'm just sick of trying. My stepfather occasionally buys me stuff to keep the uneasy peace, but he just never fucking listens. I went from scrawny to skinny over the past few years, which means I went from wearing a size M shirt to XL for the last 4 years. I've told him this, my mom's told him this, but again, listening is an issue. So he always buys shirts that are way too small for me, and I never wear them. A few years back he got me few t-shirts for Christmas, all a size too small. A few months later my mom mentioned that stepfather's unhappy with the fact that I don't wear what he bought me. I told her it's too small, she doesn't believe it, so I maliciously complied. Stepfather's birthday comes around, and we're all going out to dinner to celebrate. All the immediate family will be there, so guess what I'm wearing to the dinner? As soon as I walked into the restaurant I knew I'd struck a home run. Not a word was said about my appearance during the dinner, but on the way out my mom approached me and said, "You don't have to wear those shirts again, they don't look good on you." Who'd guessed it? Here's the ongoing part. Stepfather took a tour abroad a few weeks back, and brought back some souvenirs. Surprise surprise, I got t-shirts. And they're 2 sizes too small this time. Guess what I'm wearing to our next family get-together? IT director, not being helpful. Time for malicious compliance. Settle in for a form of malicious compliance for not being helpful. This is long, but I promise to make it worth your while. I'm an IT director, M51, though I'm the only IT person in a non-profit with 45+ employees. The place I work is a toxic nightmare only because of the CEO. Everyone else is awesome. I didn't want to leave my job, and my co-workers, but I was left with no choice. I was quiet quitting for several weeks while I interviewed for new positions. I took home all personal items from my office. The job market for an IT person of my caliber is like candy land right now. I quickly found a new position, and the day they officially welcomed me to the new company, I submitted my 2 weeks' notice. Granted, I had been considering giving no notice and leaving with a fire and brimstone approach, but I read a lot of articles about resignation letters and avoiding any negativity, so I backed off and just gave a boilerplate, 2 weeks notice resignation letter, nothing positive, nothing negative. A co-worker who wears several hats was tapped to be the interim director. I met with that person and the COO to develop a transition plan to avoid as much chaos as possible. They mostly work in social media and marketing, but during the pandemic I had trained them to be an emergency IT replacement in case anything happened to me. Though they will be okay for a few weeks, they simply do not have the experience to do all of the things I do: network administration, systems administration, help desk, web development, app development, etc. I happen to be a unicorn of sorts, an IT generalist that has done it all. We met with the CEO in a cramped office to review the transition plan. We immediately stated that the interim IT director would not be able to do their old job while they are running IT. The CEO is a complete narcissist, and deeply arrogant, while also being completely incompetent and lacking in the most basic IT skills. She immediately pushed back on the plan as basically this was not her idea. She rejects everyone else's ideas 100% of the time. I tried to speak up and advocate for the COO and the interim IT director as I've been doing the job for 5+ years, so I know the reality. There's no way they could possibly do IT and their old job. She literally wouldn't let me finish a sentence. She wanted to see a checklist of my job duties. There are literally hundreds of pages of documentation for my role, which is not really possible to summarize into a checklist. Everyone in the meeting had been emailed a disaster recovery/business continuity document that I wrote for my role. We referred her to the doc that everyone else was looking at. She complained that it hadn't been printed out for her. My lady, everyone else in the meeting had their laptops open with the doc. I simply turned my laptop around and gently pushed it toward her. She flew off the handle. She wanted a printed copy. Also, she said, "You are not being helpful." I was literally in the meeting to be helpful. There are hyperlinks galore in this doc, so a printed copy would be useless, but I tried to oblige by taking my laptop back and started to print it. Before I could finish, she was standing next to my chair and was saying, "Are you going to move?" I guess she was trying to get past me to go to the printer. I said, "I think what you meant to say was, excuse me," as I scooted my chair forward. Not being helpful. You have no idea what that looks like from your IT guy. I said, "Okay, I'm done," and went back to my office, wrote a new resignation letter, went right back to the meeting and handed it in. Instead of leaving in 2 weeks, I will be leaving in 1 week. The CEO's jaw dropped to the floor. She was speechless. She just sputtered as I closed the door behind me. They already begged me to go back to 2 weeks' notice out of courtesy and professionalism. I just told them that courtesy and professionalism is a two-way street, and they hadn't earned it. I'm going to barely work for this last week. Instead of tying up loose ends, I'll just not quite get around to finishing stuff while I watch them scramble. Good luck installing new software or updates on all of the computers that require an administrative password. Good luck handling the media coordinator who regularly creates network storms with his antiquated studio equipment. Good luck onboarding new staff with their accounts, passwords, and equipment needs. Good luck helping the CEO use her smartphone every day, and helping her search for emails in her inbox with over 25,000 unread messages. Good luck with the security systems that I installed and maintained for 3 years. Good luck maintaining 10 websites, 7 of which I personally developed and maintained. I will just sit back and watch the show. Malicious compliance is now the main course in a delicious meal, seasoned with the tears of a bitter, incompetent CEO. Edit. Wow, I thought I might get a few upvotes, but thank you everyone. Let's keep it rolling. Here is a tasty preview of what is to come. I am now one of 4 people resigning in August, and it's only the first week. Smiley face. The dam is bursting. Edit number 2, there are many comments where PPL said I should have quit immediately instead of changing it to 1 week. What's the fun in that? I get a front row seat to the best show on earth. Also, I reserve my power. If I get treated with disrespect again, I'll shorten it to 3 days. Again, and 1 day. Again, and, bye. This CEO rarely experienced natural consequences. This will be my master class in that. Edit number 3, though this may not fit the strict definition of malicious compliance, I hope you are entertained regardless. Further, malicious compliance usually happens in top-down orgs with a healthy dose of micromanagement, which is absolutely my situation. If you are still not convinced, I promise updates about my passive-aggressive acts of malicious compliance throughout my final week. Edit number 4, my age is 51. M45 was a typo. It was in the same sentence as 45 plus employees. Some comments were trolling me over that point. Okay. Not sure what point you were trying to make. To add, yep, there really are people like us, multiple IT disciplines, this is not fiction. Some of them have already added comments. I've been in tech since 1995, and I learned whatever I could to make a living. That's not a flex, it's just what I did to survive. Want me to process this return? You got it. I worked at a blue electronics retailer in the early 2000s. One of our managers, Jim, was an all-around garbage person, but especially known for tearing down employees in front of angry customers to defuse the situation. I worked in computers, but was helping customer service process returns during a busy period. Returns are opened, checked out, and tagged with a discount, which varied depending on if parts, manuals, etc. were missing. The return is then sealed with tamper-resistant tape with the store logo. A customer from further back in the line sees me go through this process, and asks in a shaky voice, do you check every item? I replied that yes, we do. Moments later, it was his turn. He was returning a DVD burner. I opened the box to find no product, no packing materials, no manual, nothing, except a half-empty jar of peanut butter, presumably for weight. I informed him politely that I could not process the return. He stated that it was like that when he bought it. I explained calmly that not only do we check and reseal all returns, as he'd just seen, but that this was a new product, and we had only ever sold one. Specifically, I sold it to him. This was confirmed on the receipt and store records, which I showed him. He proceeded to have the most forced and unconvincing Karen meltdown of my career, which is saying something. I made no insinuation that he had essentially stolen the item, but the angry customers behind him were doing a fine job of that for me. Eventually, he yells, "This is bullshit. I want to speak to AM." And right on time, here comes Jim out of the back. He makes a big show about how sorry he is, and how rude and incompetent I am. The other customers are losing it, and throwing out jabs like, "I have to pay for my items, why doesn't he?" Jim ignores this, as he knows I'll have to deal with them, and he won't. He then processes the return himself, continues to talk shit about me to the customer, issues a full refund, and throws the box in the trash. After I handle the rest of the line, I retrieve the box. After all, this was a returned item, and now in store inventory. As per policy, I seal the box and label it with a detailed tag, NO DVD burner, NO cables, NO software, NO manuals, NO packing materials. Empty box containing a half-empty jar of peanut butter. Price, 10 cents. I place the box back on the shelf. Now back in computers, it doesn't take long before a customer approaches me with the box. He had not read my carefully prepared open item tag, so I explained the entire story to him, and that, in accordance with company policy. I may have relayed some of Jim's commentary regarding my character. He is understandably upset, and asks for our corporate number. Right away, sir. That afternoon, I had a very interesting meeting with Jim, my store manager, and my district manager. I wish I could tell you that Jim got fired, but he didn't. He did have his bonus adjusted, and attended a few weeks of customer service training, and a mandatory training seminar on sensitivity training. Jim never spoke one word to me again. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.